go through the review. If there's additional information, we always have the opportunity to ask for more.
Wouldn't that be the starting point, or to have the commissioners come up with due diligence items we'd like to get from over there?
That would be
We've already done a lot of that. We've set for 2 sessions.
Talking about it.
So then that should be available under the PRA.
Well, we just had suggestions. I mean, these are all points we want, you know, and that there's gonna be a lot more work to come when we're trying to hash things out.
Well, it just seems to me that the commissioners should have some input.
We did. 2 hours worth.
When,
Successive months, we had workshop, we had a board meeting concerning it.
I'd like to see the results of that. Then. What are our due diligence requests of over, and that apparently should be accessible under the PRA.
Well, I guess it needs to be the PRA, it's something that we should have the commissioners.
Okay, I would like to see a copy.
The less that we send.
And as far as what the overlay is submitted to us, that submission also should be available at this point, should it not?
No, it's not, it has not been received, they're not finished sending their stuff
Oh,
to
it
us.
hasn't been received. I thought you said it had.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? We will move on.
Thank you, Madam President and members. And this is your 5 minutes of Robert's Rules of Order. And tonight, I'm going to talk to you about your favorite topic and motion of every meeting, and that is the motion to adjourn. I know it's a fairly quick topic and subject.
Are we now adjourning?
We could with a proper motion, and Robert's Rules of Order says that in ordinary practice, a meeting is closed by adopting a motion simply saying to adjourn, and you all know that, you've done that for many, many meetings, you know it quite well. Or under certain conditions, the chair can declare the adjournment without a motion, as explained on pages 240 and 241, and I'll put that at the end and we'll cover that, so there is another option for the chair. The society meets it again, provided the bylaws or other rules are already established by the adoption of an earlier motion. Then you would just say we're going to go to the next regular meeting. So when you adjourn, you're actually adjourning to the next regular meetings that you have scheduled, because you have bylaws for that. You'll note the second paragraph, and I did not know this was Robert's Rules of Order, in the event of a fire, a riot, or other extreme emergency, if the chair believes taking time for a vote on adjourning would be dangerous to those present, he should declare the meeting adjourned to a suitable time and place for an adjourned meeting, if he is able, or to meet at the call of the chair. So hopefully that would never happen, but if you see a riot break out, Madam Chairman, you have the authority and ability under Robert's Rules to immediately adjourn the meeting and recall that meeting. Finally, under page 241, some organizations do use this rather frequently rather than asking for a motion, and that is when it appears there's no further business in a meeting of an ordinary local society that normally goes through a complete order of business, which you typically do, at each regular meeting, the chair, instead of waiting or calling for a motion to adjourn, can ask, is there any further business? If there is no response, the chair pauses and then says, since there's no further business, the meeting is adjourned. That is your Robert's Rules of Order for the evening.
So tell me what an ordinary local society is.
Well, as you recall, one of the first sessions I talked about was Robert and why he created these for the church societies and other organizations that met on a regular basis. I would not say that you are extraordinary, Secretary
I was
Smythe.
going to say, you know,
I think you're other ordinary. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do I have a motion for consent agenda?
I have the motion.
Consent agenda approval of the minutes for February 27th, 2019, and February 27th work study. So we have a special meeting work study. Did David give me a motion?
I did, and there was a second.
Okay, all those in favor say any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, passes. Okay, presentation. We have the state auditor's office here.
Patiently waiting.
Yes, they are.
Wendy Choi. I'm with the Team North King County and I'm the audit manager. And here we have tonight is Stacy Chen, who was the audit lead, and Lorrainita, who was the assistant audit manager or supervisor for the engagement. Tonight we're here to present the audit results for the fiscal year 2016 and 2017 audit for Snoqualmie Valley Hospital District. And before we get started, in front of you are your blue folders. On the left-hand side is the exit conference agenda. Right-hand side are the audit reports, which Stacy will go over in a moment. So for us as the Office of the Washington State Auditor, our vision and our objective is to provide transparent and independent examinations of state and local governments. We are here to provide that added level of assurance that our local governments and state agencies, whether they're in compliance with state laws, regulations, their own policies and procedures. And we're also here as a resource as well for resources and tools to ensure that there are efficiencies and effectiveness in the local governments that we do provide services for. At this time, what we'd like to do is have Stacy come up as the lead and go over audit highlights as well as share the results of the report.
Okay, before we go on to the audit reports, I would like to present you some audit highlights that we noted during the audit. We would like to take this opportunity to thank the district staff who we work very close with throughout the audit, and especially Steve, Jen, and Carrie, who we work very closely with throughout the audit. And then we also want to thank the district's commitment to fiscal accountability and also for your ongoing commitment to build a relationship with our office. As Wendy just mentioned, on your right-hand side is the audit report. Is titled Accountability Audit Reports, and I will walk you through the audit reports. And during this process, if you have any questions, just let us know. So the first and second page, it's the present information about report on accountability, and we also include a table of content of this audit report. And what you should really focus on is on page 4, titled Audit Results. This is where we include the audit results from our accountability audit. And so basically on the top of the paragraph on the top of the page, basically it described that in those areas that we examined during the audit, we determined that the district operation complied with applicable state laws, regulations, and your own policies. And the district provided adequate controls over the safeguarding of public resources. So this is where we include the audit results in this paragraph. So areas that we examined during our audit listed below that. So the first area that we review is financial condition. We review the financial ratios and compare to prior years' data and assess the district's financial sustainability to ensure that it had been approved from the prior years. And we did see a lot of improvements from the prior year in our review. And the second bullet point is tracking and safeguarding of theft-sensitive items. This we reviewed this as the result of the prior year's management letter items, and we reviewed the updated process for these items, and then we trace items from the district's master list to the actual locations, and then review items that we observed in a location and trace it back to the list. So the third bullet point is payroll. We reviewed the process relating to bonuses, award time off, and overtime payments, and tested some payroll transactions to ensure that that they in compliance with the district's policies. Fourth bullet point is the general disbursement and credit card transaction. We tested transactions to ensure that they are in compliance with the district's policy and any applicable state laws and regulations. After that is the charity care program. We reviewed controls over this program and then tested some write-off in the program to ensure that they are still in compliance with the district's policies. Next item is cash receiving. We review cash receiving at the cafe upstairs, and then we review cash handling deposit to the district's bank accounts on a timely manner, and then they are in compliance with the district's policy. The last area that we review is the use of district's facilities. We review the district's policies and process over this, and to ensure external use of the district's facilities are allowable and they're in compliance with the district's policy as well. So that's all the areas that we have reviewed. The next page is the related reports. So we included a link in here. It's relating to the financial statement audit that was performed by an external CPA. It's, in this case, it's the Moss Adam. Today we provided you in your package a cover letter where it's it describes what we have what we require to review. As by its auditing standard, we are required to review the external auditor's work on the financial statement, and then to share the certain matters with the governing body. And in our review, we noted no instance where we concerned about the quality of their work and any material misstatements on the financial statement. This is the cover letter. Will be published on on this link right here on page 5, and after that, it will be the actual CPA audit reports attached to this. Will be published in this link right here. Oh, already published. Yeah. Any question with this?
Now, you say that this draft letter will cover your final report, or how does that work?
Right, so this audit report, the draft accountability, includes areas that we reviewed for the accountability engagement, which Stacy had just went over. And so once after tonight's exit conference, Steve, as our audit liaison, once he gives us the okay, we can move forward and publish the audit report, which is posted on our website.
This is the cover letter for that, is that correct?
Right, the single sheet is actually as it relates to the district's financial statement audit, which is contracted with the separate certified public accounting firm. That letter that you have in your hand is actually, we'll go over it in a moment in the exit conference agenda. That's the management representation letter. I think that's the one that you have right there.
Is that part of the financial audit?
That's actually part of the accountability and financial engagement. So any audits that our agency performs or other independent audit firms as well, it's part of auditing standards. We obtain that management representation letter every year. The only piece that is different is that we now include a copy of that template or a copy of the signed letter. It's already available. We include it in our exit conference packet so that the board is aware of what the district had attested to. And basically what that letter just states that the district, in all good faith, was cooperative, answered our questions, and provided responses to our inquiries.
I have more questions.
Let's see if there's, anybody else have any questions? Mr. Paul?
Now, I think the district paid something like $25,000 for this audit.
Right.
Now, if we're using our own Moss Adams, for example, that's a major part of the financial audit. Does it vary in the fee that we're paying whether we're using our already paid private auditor or that have the state do the audit? And who determines whether the state will do an audit or will accept a private audit firm?
Right. So the price for the accountability audit, that's something that the Office of the Washington State Auditor, that's something that our agency performs. That piece cannot be contracted out to a CPA firm. However, the financial statement audit, our local governments and our state agencies have that option to do so. And then as does the official auditors of public accounts, that's where we're required to at least come in and review the CPA firm's financial statement audit. So of course we do that review, that's about a day and a half or so review. And what we do is we come in, we review the work, we do it before we start the actual accountability audit. So that way we don't duplicate potentially any effort. So if there's any areas that were identified in our review of the CPA firm's financial statement audit that we feel we could find a value for the accountability review, we'll take that into consideration. As far as whether or not our governments want our clients want to contract out with a private firm for the financial statement audit, we do leave that at the discretion of the district between management and the governing body. And if a local government does decide we'd like that work contracted out, that's fine, as long as there's that understanding that we have to come in as the official auditors on record to review that file with the CPA firm, and then also provide this cover letter, right?
That's what I was getting at, is a review is a lot different than an audit.
Yes,
And the fee that we're being charged, I think, would include an audit and not just a review.
right, so correct, of the $25,000, I'd say approximately 16 hours or so, about maybe 50, we bill at the rate of $95.10 an hour, so 16 hours times the $95.10, that portion is to review the financial statement audit performed by Moss Adams. The remainder of that $25,000 is us actually doing that in-depth review of the accountability areas that Stacy discussed on page 4. We bill at that flat $95 per hour, whether we're reviewing Moss Adams financial statement audit or performing that accountability engagement.
If we couldn't give you Moss Adams audit, how much more would it have cost us for the state to do the audit?
We wouldn't know right off the top of the hand. What we do know is we bill at $95 an hour, and so depending on what the rate is for Moss Adams, that would probably be the difference in the cost savings.
Well, yeah, what would it cost us additionally to have the state do the audit is what I'm trying to find out.
You know, I wouldn't know the specifics without looking at the district's financial statement accounts and the prior history. So it could be something if the district is interested in, I could see what is the average financial statement budget that we have for other public hospital districts that are of similar size to the district. That would be part of my analysis to determine the cost. The piece that I do know is we bill at 95, well, that was prior, so now it's effective January 1st of 2019, we bill at $100.10 an hour. So what could be a good starting point for the district is, depending on the audit budget provided from the CPA firm, you know, that number of hours multiplied potentially by our billing rate of $100.10, that would probably give you a good starting point of how much would our agency potentially charge versus the CPA firm. But without looking at a more detailed analysis, I wouldn't be able to provide a dollar amount today.
Do you have another question, Commissioner Paul? Does anybody else? No. Commissioner Paul?
Well, on page 4, mentions the Vista Cafe.
Yes.
Okay, now does that include the gift shop?
No, it's just the cafe. Just the cafeteria food service area.
You may know that the gift shop, I guess, is managed and run by Vista Cafe people. And it seems strange if you're not auditing the gift shop.
Right, one of the things for the accountability piece is we don't look at every single transaction or every operation. You know, given the audit areas that we did identify for review in the current audit, you know, this year it's the cafe, but it would not necessarily mean that we wouldn't consider the gift shop in future audits. So one other thing to note for this current engagement, it's a 2-year audit cycle. It was fiscal year 2016 and 2017. However, the district is typically on an annual audit cycle. So we will actually be back in the exit conference agenda. Next year's audit cost is reduced, and that's because it's a 1-year accountability audit. So we'll be here, before we know it, we'll be here for the 2018 audit, and if it's an area that the district would like us to consider in our review, we'll definitely add it to our list for consideration. You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, thank you very much for your time and for the information.
Absolutely. And then what we'll just do real quickly, the housekeeping items, we kind of already touched on those. It's just that recommendations, there were some housekeeping items not referenced in the report. They're more best practices. Last year there was a management letter recommendation over some unattractive assets that's been resolved. We already discussed the obligations for our review of Moss Adams financial statement report. Just some one key thing is just next scheduled audit. We'll be back here next year for fiscal year 2018. The audit cost using our new billing rate effective January 1st, 2019 is about $15,000. And then report publication notification. We'll wait unless the board feels that we can move forward with publishing the reports, but we'll wait for Steve to return and have him give us the okay. If that's the plan, then reports typically go out Mondays and Thursdays. Steve, as our liaison, gets a 2-day email mass notification. So today being Thursday, probably the earliest it can be issued would be next Thursday, potentially.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Pollard.
On page 6, it states that the district has approximately 350 employees. I think that's excessive. I think we're more like 315 or 305, somewhere in that area, not 350. Does anyone,
Approximate.
Dr. Luca, do you know?
It's an approximate.
Well, yeah, the 350 is an approximate, it's quite different from 305. You know, I would suggest that you might want to.
It is less than
that. Okay.
And it's a draft report, so what we can do is we can go up. And then just that friendly reminder, if there are federal expenditures, $750,000 or more in your fiscal year, please do let us know, because then the district would be required for a federal grant compliance audit that actually has a September 30th federal deadline. So there'd be some additional work we'd have to perform with a certain deadline that's in play. We also just included our January 2019 newsletter as well. Just some great resources that our agency has that's available not only on the internet, but you can subscribe for notifications of when such newsletters come out on a quarterly basis. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Next, we have committee reports. Finance Committee. Chris Biker.
We had a fairly lengthy, I sent all of the commissioners this committee report that just came out today. And it was, I explained, it was probably me that we continued the meeting. It was so long, it was about a 2.5-hour meeting. And we reconvened, and I think at that point the regularity of things kind of got out of place for Val, and so anyway, it was my cause that, because I had to take off at that point at 1:26. So it wasn't really Val's fault, probably mine. But anyway, I did reach out to all of the commissioners, and I said you could either bring questions at the meeting or give me a call. So I didn't get any calls that I know of. So, but anyway, I'll go through the report. We didn't do as well as I anticipated. Our expenses were up, and there were reasons. There was holiday pay and training, and I got to the nut on this, sitter hours. We had quite a few patients that required 24/7 watch, and we have about $11,000 more in sitter hours because of that last month. That's what I figured. I think it was an estimate, but based on what I looked at when Steve and I discussed in the meeting. There was orientation for 7 new hires. I inquired about why so many new hires, and there was a variety of reasons. Nothing specific, no pattern or anything like that. There was training that had to be done for these new employees. There was a contract buyout for the IT person that we hired. We were hiring, we had purchased it through a service, and we had to pay them off $16,000 so we could get the right person in there. Apparently, we've been searching for an IT person for quite a while. We've been going with a temporary person through a contract agency. I didn't realize that was quite some time. So that added up. And now February is a little bit down too, my understanding. So I'm hoping that we bounce back in March. And accounts receivable, we went up on that. Apparently there was a commercial payer mix-up. It just seems like one thing after another last month that kind of hit us pretty hard. We're still well within any kind of compliance, covenant compliance required under the bond covenants. But anyway, that's the financials aspects of things. Now, we went through the accountability audit, and actually I probably asked 2 or 3 really good questions, and pretty much all those questions are covered today. And the thing that really struck me, I guess, is being, I think we probably spent 45 minutes on the Piper Jaffray issue. And the reason being is there was a court case that came down. Apparently, a kind of hospital declared bankruptcy, and the bankruptcy judge ruled that the assets were potentially recoverable by 2 revenue bond holders. And if you recall, back when we signed up for these bonds and authorized to issue them, it was pretty much at that point we were not to have these bonds in any way, shape, form, or fashion attached to our tax revenues. And now, apparently under this ruling, the court is saying, well, yeah, you can look at it, and you can look at them. A little bit of background on bankruptcy. The bankruptcy judge will look at, gather all the assets and all the debts, and come up with a plan based on everybody's needs and wants and clear notices of debt to the bankruptcy court. And there's a creditors meeting. I don't know, a commercial thing. It gets blown up a little bit more than that, but I'm trying to simplify this. And normally the certain debts could be discharged. Some will have to go and look at the assets. In this case, the only thing that could be possible on a bankruptcy, and I'm not saying we're going to bankruptcy in any way, but the only thing that would be possibly connected to our revenue bonds is the assets, like the hospital, any real estate that we own, fixtures and things in the hospital, and equipment. And that was the only thing I was aware of, and that I knew of, not the actual taxes that we take in of the hospitals. And so, in a nutshell, bigger nutshell, I asked that. I said, well, geez, it seems to me that when 2 parties enter into an agreement and they have a mistaken fact, and this is a very simplified contract law, but if you both mistake the fact, then there could be a potential for rescission of the agreement or something that would make the parties more equal, because when we entered into this, the bondholders didn't think they had any chance of getting our taxes. Now they can. Now that's kind of unequal footing, so to speak, and I know that Piper Jaffray didn't like it when I was really reading, really going through the questions on it. He didn't like it because he knew that there was an issue with whether we could at least take this 6.97% interest rate and have it callable right now because of the mistaken fact that both parties. So, Brad, but this is very simplified because I'm not that type of an attorney. I'm not saying there's a legal position here that I'm trying to take, but it just seems to me that it's an equity kind of thing. And I think we should check into it, and that's why I've asked Brad Bird to have a telephone conference, I believe, coming up next week, I believe. And I want to get to the could be huge, huge. And of course, Piper Jeffrey didn't want to hear that. So that is why I'm kind of questioning about whether Piper Jeffrey should be engaged in anything until we figure this out. And so I'm not really, you know, they want to, he was talking about $200,000 to do this review, $100,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's their mistake, it's not ours.
No, when this new
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
to review
Yes.
these bonds, how much was that?
200.
Yeah, $200,000.
If affiliation goes through.
Yeah,
Oh, if.
but 100 if it doesn't. So I'm not really real warm on that. And
You're paying that kind of money, you don't want those
I-
kinds of
I-
mistakes.
quite frankly, I did not like the answers, and I didn't like the attitude of Piper Jeffrey, representative of finance.
How long have they been represented?
They do 95%, he says 95% of all of the affiliations and bond financings in the state.
Would you say that they have a conflict of interest?
I don't know, I'm not gonna make a legal, you know,
Opinion.
opinion or anything like that. I'm just saying, to me, when he came up with this, and I kept raising the issue, and I wasn't getting very good answers. And of course, he couldn't say a legal standpoint, but when he came up with the 200,000, we're going, first, you know, we had to, we're sucking up on 6.9% bond to these bondholders that has contracts with. And now, he didn't like what I had to say about whether we could rescind the agreement with this bond, for these bonds issues. And I really think there's an issue, and I think that we're on unequal, we're now on unequal footing, or you know, where we didn't think we would be in a position like this. And you know, who's to say that we wouldn't have anything else to work with anyway at that time? But it just seems to be, you know, now they're in a better position than both of us anticipated, and I don't think Piper Jeffrey likes what I have to say about it.
So what option in your mind would be the preferred one?
Well, I would love to have Brad say, what can we do first? Because I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not an attorney that practices in that area, and I'm a commissioner at this point, and I'm just bringing out an issue that might be of value for the district to be able to at least find out what we can do.
And a legitimate concern of where we are.
Yes,
And I think it is legit.
So, anyway,
Would this be something that should go to arbitration?
oh, well, I don't know, I don't know, let's hear what Brad Burke has to say. I mean, he's, you know, we're gonna pay him to have a telephone conference and opinion. We gave him what the issues were, very succinct, like 5 questions ahead of time, so he would be prepared to talk to us. And not, you know, well, I'll get back to you kind of thing, you know? So he should be able to tell us some things next week. But I'm upset because now our taxpayers potential are on the hook for their taxes for any problems for the revenue bonds issued. So that is not what we represented to our taxpayers, and we did it in good faith. However, seems like everybody was wrong, and I need to know more, I guess, to do this kind of thing, adequate representation.
The whole thing just came out in the last finance meeting, that was,
Yep.
That's the
it's
first
never
time.
been,
That's the first time we've
and
heard
it's
that.
been going on,
Yeah.
perhaps,
So-
that we were not aware of.
Well,
But that came across because of the Kennewick ruling.
it's a kind of
Oh,
bankruptcy
It was
court
a ruling.
ruling,
A
and
very new
Yeah.
ruling.
so it's recent, and I get all the cases, but I don't get bankruptcy court cases. I get Washington State cases, and you know, if there's something that's interesting, I usually look at it, but you know, I usually glance let it go, you know? But bankruptcy court, no, I don't look at that, those cases, because I don't know what's the matter. And so, anyway, that's why it took so long, and I really was kind of grilling for Mr. Piper. Jack, what was Kevin? Kevin. I was kind of grilling him pretty hard. Keith, yeah. I was kind of grilling him pretty hard. He didn't like my questions. So,
Well, he's not, yeah, he's really intentional about not crossing over and answering the
I know.
answers.
I know, but you know, the whole issue was something he didn't want to deal with, for sure. Because he knows there could be a potential issue. But he did what he had to do. He had to inform us of that, and he was very honest about it. So I give him points for that. But so I don't know. I have a feeling. No, I'm not even going to say that feeling about what's going to happen. But we'll see more. So anyway, that's why our board meeting took so long. And I wanted to let you know I was trying to represent the best interests of the hospital and pointing out something that is really a big issue, I think. So I'll keep on top of it, and I'll let the board and the public know everything that I find out. It's going to be transparent. It's not going to be something hidden under the rug. So. So anyway,
Better
I think
to
that's,
know the bad news
Yeah.
and deal with it
Yeah.
than to shove it under the carpet.
yeah,
And
no,
that's-
you can't do that.
Yeah, so this is right.
I
Anything else, Commissioner Spikers, that you'd like to share?
I don't know, I'll take questions, but I really wanted to talk a lot about that because I wanted people to understand where we thought and what we are thinking and what has really happened. And we never made any intentional representation, not even negligent at that time, because we were under the impression directly represented to us by all entities involved in the process of issuing these bonds, that these would not be attached to the taxes in any shape or fashion, period.
Should not be attached to taxes. I wrote it like the other one. Should not be attached to the funds. Which one is
The-
it?
The bonds could not attach to the taxes. The taxes could not be
Could not,
attached
that's part of it.
to the bonds.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Commissioner Pollard?
I want to thank Mr. Spikers for sending this along. I didn't get it until this afternoon.
I know, I didn't get it till this morning, late this morning, myself,
So, you know,
I
you did
just don't know.
invite commissioners to all you, but we really didn't have time.
I know, I did the best I could,
Okay, I understand.
And
Just want you to know that at least I only got this afternoon.
and,
I was gone online all day, actually.
and it was, like I said, it was my fault because I think I switched gears when we reconvened, and I think I threw Valerie off on that, so, anyway.
Okay, I have a couple more questions.
If there's nobody else ready, then Commissioner Pollard, you have the floor.
One simple thing is, what is this business of sitters?
Oh.
It's a 24/7 that we have to.
This is the first time I've heard about sitters in our inpatient. Are these not babysitters? These are like
people, I would guess.
Keep her from
Yeah.
falling.
from what?
Some people get
yeah,
up
I
and
can
they
see
try
the
to
need
fall.
for many people for 24-hour observation. I just didn't know we called them sitters, and I'm not quite sure of their qualifications, or they just.
That's why they're called sitters, is because they are
$15 to $18 an hour
they're not,
place.
they're trainers. Usually they're CNAs.
Yeah.
On
Oh, they
occasion,
can be CNAs?
they can be CNAs on occasion. We do train others who are not certified like a CNA is to be a sitter. So we have two varieties. A CNA can actually assist the patient in doing anything they might need to do, toilets, eat. A non-CNA couldn't support in those roles. All they could do is help keep the patient from being impulsive, call for help.
Yeah, is that a job that could be filled by high school senior or
Yeah, in fact,
college student?
we have had some students volunteer at the high school level. So So we train them how to be a sitter.
Roughly, what is the salary?
$18 to $20.
Or they're volunteers.
They're volunteers.
They're
They need to
volunteer.
If
Some
they're,
of them
if
do
they're
not accept.
if they came to us as a volunteer, they are actually paid to be a sitter.
Okay.
Yeah, but they became appointed with us as a volunteer,
Oh, okay.
but they are paid because they have responsibility.
All right, well, thanks for the education. The other thing is, I'm a little unclear, I wonder if you could clarify this business about the IT. Because it said that professional fees were high because one of the vacancies had been filled by hiring an employee contracted through a temporary staffing agency. And we expect the remaining vacancy to be filled shortly. Did we convert a temporary employee into a permanent position?
Yes.
And therefore, we had to pay a fee for that, not just for the temporary work, but because we took that employee out of their system,
Buy out the contract,
buy out their contract.
16,000.
Wow. Okay, have we filled the other position?
It is in the process of being.
It will not involve this company. It won't involve this company or buying out somebody's contract, but we've actually done recruitment. Okay, that sounds much better.
Well, we have, what's his name, not Jeff, but the other person.
So we have,
Bruce.
our IT department is 3,
Okay,
and it was suddenly down to 1.
that's Bruce.
So, Bryce.
Bryce, I mean.
So you can't operate with just 1.
Yeah.
So we brought in agency to fill, so we have at least 2.
Right.
And then the third one hired.
And I can tell you,
So is that a replacement to Jeff, the one that was previously employed here? Okay, so it's not really new, but it's not, but just replacing a position that's already been established.
Just a new hire.
Okay, oh, yeah, okay. But we're not hiring more staff, that is
No,
not,
it's a department of 3.
okay, yeah, thank you.
Many corporations, they will start out with a temporary employee and through an agency, and it's sort of like they'll try them out, see if they like them. If they really like them, they really want them. They don't want to have to go get another person because it costs a lot of money and time and effort to get another person. And it's pretty normal to buy out any part of a contract that's available. I've heard of somebody that was working for Microsoft.
Is that 16,000?
And there was about a $75,000 buyout to bring him in. So, of course, that's Microsoft.
well, and I can tell you, I've been trying to work with IT for the last month, 6 weeks maybe, and they were short-staffed, they didn't have people available. And the fellow that came in did a good job, he helped me, and between the two, I actually learned something that I could implement. So I think it was a good thing, and we needed help in IT, and I think that's what Bryce, is that his name? He was running crazy trying to keep track of stuff. He was having a hard time.
So
How did you come up with the $16,000?
that's what the contract buyout was.
Oh, that's
The
funny,
remainder of
I
the
see,
contract.
oh, I
The
see, okay.
agency was needed to have that money.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
That's
specified when
You
you
can't take the employee without it.
Okay, let's get some order. Yes,
when
Commissioner Pollard.
you hire a temporary person, is the buyout indicated in the contract? Or
I'm sure
is
it
that
is.
negotiated or how's that?
Both.
Both? Mr. Spikes, if you want to clarify this, it says, and also discussed in single Piper Chapel. Was the change in public hospital district, this is on page 3, 2, second, 1, 2, 3, 4, about fifth bullet. Also discussed was the change in public hospital district environment for the state of Washington.
We're on page 3.
Page 3 or
two.
page 2?
Oh, page 2.
I heard page 3
1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5,
Five.
bullet 5.
Five bullet.
Okay. The changing public hospital district market environment for state of Washington, particular investor perceptions, rating agency perceptions, and legal rulings relating to public hospital district, LTGO, and revenue bonds. Do you want to say anything more about that?
Sure. Well, investor perceptions are changing, they change all the time, depending on the market, depending on the interest rates, and depending on the economy. The economy, in a good time, is, you know, they're not worried too much about people going under. On a bad time, they are, and they want a lot of interest, right, a lot higher returns. So that constantly changes, and the public hospital market environment in the state of Washington is in a lot better shape than it was 5 to 10 years ago. So, you know, that's, the fact is that now these bondholders are, with that ruling, perhaps they might be changing their tune about the perceptions of whether they could go after the LPGO bond, LPGO funds. So, yeah, whether the LPGO and revenue bonds, it seems like there's a real blur as to what the rights could be, and what they could want to be the one. And so then I kind of told him, I said, well, so now that they have a lot better, they have better positions by the court ruling, we should have better rates, right? And he laughed at that. So.
Thank you. Sure.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just have a concern about this new discovery that just found out about language. How is that going to affect the affiliation process?
I don't know that we have an answer to that.
Yes,
until
okay.
we have
Maybe I'm
next week's
moving too
conversations.
fast. Okay, we'll just wait till we hear from Brad. Heard. Okay.
If there's something that is immediately, I feel that we should discuss immediately, I'll ask for a special meeting immediately. You know me, I don't like to delay on things.
Thanks, that would be excellent.
Any other questions?
We're gonna go to the warrants.
Well, I should make a motion.
I will make a motion. There is one.
Take a vote.
No, well, I have one last thing, if no one else has any questions.
Go for your last thing.
All right. Any other questions? I make a motion to approve the warrants, payable, accounts payable warrants and payroll warrants of $3,204,724.10.
Is there any discussion?
I request a roll call vote.
We'll move to a vote. All those, roll call. Move to a vote.
President Norris,
Yes.
Vice President Herron,
Yes?
Secretary Spikers,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Pollard.
No.
Is that all for Finance Committee?
That is, well, with that in mind, does the motion carry?
Yes, the motion carries, I'm sorry. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have Medical Committee. No report and no report from facilities. Is there any old business? I have none on mine. So we will move on to new business. I don't know who's gonna have a list of new business. Sure. Letter of intent?
Sure.
Okay.
So, as I shared with you in the CEO report, that Overlake did sign this at their board meeting last night. So the letter of intent has not changed, since it was first presented to you, prior to November, definitely from November onward. There may have been a misspelling corrected, but there's been no change of substance in here. On the front of the letter of intent is a pictorial. 2 slides that helps try and pictorially represent the plan. That if you see these better pictorially as opposed to words, we can go over it in detail if you want, or continue forward.
This is probably the third, fourth time I've seen this, so, I actually looked at it and compared it to the one I had, and it was exactly the same. So, just to let everybody know that it is, has not changed.
motion?
I make a motion at this time to approve the letter of intent, which of course does not obligate us to do anything, it just makes us start moving in the right direction.
Do I have a second? Is there any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes,
And that
Commissioner
is,
Powers?
on page 2, item 6, community needs, says OMC will conduct market assessments and develop action plans according to the findings of those assessments. Under the ACA, we are advised to do a community health needs assessment every 2 years, and I believe we're due. Is that what we're talking about? And if it's not, I think we ought to specify in there that we need to have that done, or that will be, I realize that can be part of the final agreement, but when they raise it here under the title of community needs, I think this would be a good place to also indicate that we need to have a community health needs assessment to comply with the ACA.
The intention of in this section is a market assessment to see what the needs of the community are in regard to expanded medical services. So it wasn't intended to replace the community health needs assessment.
It wasn't intended to.
It wasn't intended to replace that.
It should be mentioned, and since that's a federal requirement,
It's absolutely already in my notes for the definitive agreement to get that incorporated strongly in there.
I think you actually raised that same point last meeting.
I'm very concerned about the.
It's a good point, I'm not saying,
Yeah.
it's a good point.
I think we need to, I mean, when you go back to our strategic session, we're gonna be the healthiest community in the country, et cetera. You can't get there unless you know you're filling the needs of the community, and to get to that point, you need a community health needs assessment, which is what the government requires. Pardon me for preaching, but it's probably true that I've mentioned on more than one occasion.
And I captured it both times.
Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Yes.
Could we have a roll call vote on?
Madam President, prior to taking a roll call vote, I just bring to your attention that you are authorizing and approving this, but it's at the direction of asking your superintendent, Dr. Whitcomb, to execute this document. She'll be signing it, not the board.
Everybody
That's inherent
understand that?
in the motion, by approving that,
Yeah.
that does identify she's the signatory to the document on behalf of the district.
Just for clarification, I want to see this model, this pictorial here. Is this a, two separate level? One proposed partnership model, NUCO, and the second down here says proposed partnership model, partnership structure and flow of funds. So is this two different types of
These
we?
are two slides
Oh, okay.
that were printed onto the same page.
Oh,
So if we were doing a slide presentation, the first slide, which is the top slide, we would be having a conversation about what is NUCO and how does it set
Oh,
up.
okay, I got
And
it.
then the second slide, we would be moving on to talking about what is the flow of funds.
Okay, I thought perhaps that we have to pick which
I
model.
can see how you
Thank
think
you.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's-
Yeah,
I
no, it's
wanted for
it's
clarification.
it's just a progression from one slide to the
Thank
next.
you. Gotcha.
Are there any other questions or thoughts? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. Do I hear a motion to adopt or to accept this?
Madam President, there's a
We do that, we
motion
have
and a
done.
Oh,
second.
good, okay, all those in favor say
Then there's been a request for a roll call vote.
yes.
President Norris,
Yes.
Vice President Herron,
Yes.
Secretary Spikers.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yeah.
Commissioner Pollard.
No.
Alrighty, next. Public comment, do we have anybody that wants to make public comment? Hearing none, we will move on to new business, and new business is the approval to execute the letter of intent with Overland Hospital.
You've already done that, Madam
We did
President.
that
You did that under the new business, you
I
just
did.
moved that up.
So now we have for the good of the order, Commissioner's comment. Each commissioner shall have one comment period limited to 3 minutes. Now, this is new, is it this new?
For the new bylaws.
The new bylaws, okay. Are there any other issues? Does anybody have any other business that they want to address this evening?
We have discussed them in great detail, everything that I can possibly think of at the moment.
Then do I hear,
I make
oh,
a motion.
wait, Chris, we have to read the meeting. Next scheduled meeting, regular meeting will be Thursday, April 11th, 2019, at 6:30 North South, right here. And we have a work study prior to that on Wednesday, March 27th, 6:30 in this same room. Do
I move to adjourn, Madam President.
All you could say is there further business, seeing none, except to use that last paragraph.
Okay.
Well, second, whatever we're doing.
All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Aye.
Good idea.
Mother May I?